Have you ever felt like you're playing a game by one set of rules, while everyone else is playing by another? You work hard, you're polite, you wait your turn, you say please and thank you, you show up on time, you do what you're told, you never rock the boat, you keep your head down, and yet you watch as the loud, the strategic, the cunning, and sometimes the seemingly ruthless climb the ladder, take the opportunities, win the promotions, and live the life you thought was reserved for the lucky ones. Here is the reality check you didn't ask for but desperately need. You are not losing because you are unlucky, and you are not struggling because the world is unfair. You are struggling because you are weak. And before you get defensive, let me define what I mean by weakness because it is probably not what you think. Weakness is not a lack of muscle, it is not a lack of intelligence, it is not a lack of talent, it is not a lack of resources. Weakness is a lack of strategy, it is the inability to see the game of power being played all around you every single day, it is the blindness to the fact that human beings are not rational creatures who make decisions based on logic and fairness, but emotional creatures driven by envy, insecurity, greed, fear, and a desperate thirst for status and validation. Two thinkers, separated by 500 years of history, dedicated their lives to understanding this game. The first was Niccolò Machiavelli, the Italian Renaissance philosopher who wrote The Prince, a book so brutal in its honesty that his name became synonymous with cunning. The second is Robert Greene, the modern master who spent 30 years studying the most influential figures in history and distilled 3,000 years of human experience into 48 laws that govern all human interaction. Both arrived at the same conclusion: in the game of power, the people who are most visible, the ones who scream and shout and demand attention, are actually the weakest. Real power is subtle, it operates in the shadows, it never needs to announce itself because everyone already feels it. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you really are. Greene echoes this when he says that the powerful man conceals his intentions, that the master of power is the one who can remain invisible while others exhaust themselves in the spotlight. You have been taught your entire life that power is dirty, that strategy is manipulative, that being ambitious is greedy. But who taught you that? Was it the people who are winning, or was it the people who want to keep you controllable, the people who benefit from your obedience, the people who need you to stay weak so they can stay comfortable? Today we are going to dismantle that programming, we are going to look at the specific weaknesses that are sabotaging your life, and we are going to replace them with the timeless laws of power that have worked for thousands of years because human nature never changes. Let us begin with the first and most insidious weakness, the foundation upon which all other weaknesses are built, the religion of niceness. From the moment you could speak, you were fed a dangerous lie that if you are a good person, if you are nice, if you are kind, if you share your toys, if you wait your turn, if you always put others first, then good things will come to you. You were told that nice guys finish first, that kindness will be repaid tenfold, that karma will reward the good people. This is emotional opium, this is the lullaby they sing to keep you asleep, because the truth is that nice guys finish last, they finish eaten alive, they finish broke and alone, they finish wondering where their life went while the strategic people took everything they wanted. Look at the world, actually look at it. History is not a story of the nice guys winning, history is a slaughterhouse of the naive being outmaneuvered by the strategic, the trusting being betrayed by the cunning, the honest being crushed by the ambitious. Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago when he wrote that a man who wishes to act entirely in goodness will be destroyed among so many who are not good. Robert Greene echoes this when he says, in the world of power, the crime of being a naif, of being innocent and trusting, of believing that everyone operates with the same good intentions you do, is as bad as being a criminal. You may not be breaking the law, but you are breaking the rules of survival. Think about your own life, be honest with yourself for once. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How many times have you smiled through disrespect to avoid making things awkward? How many times have you stayed late at a job that doesn't appreciate you because you didn't want to let the team down? How many times have you loaned money you couldn't afford to lose to a friend who never paid you back? How many times have you stayed in a relationship that was slowly killing your soul because you didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings? How many times have you downplayed your achievements so that others wouldn't feel bad, so that others would still like you? You think you are being kind, but you are being weak. You are being a coward hiding behind the mask of niceness. You are training people that your time is worthless, that your boundaries are negotiable, that they can take from you without consequence. You are teaching them, through your silence, that you are prey, and the world is full of predators who can smell prey from a mile away. Machiavelli famously used the metaphor of the lion and the fox. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves, so one must be both a fox to recognize the traps and a lion to frighten the wolves. You have been trained to be neither. Robert Greene calls this law number 1, never outshine the master, which means you should never make those above you feel insecure. But you have taken this law and applied it backwards. You are outshining yourself for people who are not your masters. You are dimming your own light for people who are your equals or inferiors. You are shrinking yourself to make people comfortable who have no power over you. You are terrified of being seen as too much, so you make yourself small. You think if you shrink, people will love you. They won't. They will respect the person who stands tall. They will follow the person who knows their worth, and they will use the person who doesn't. Stop being nice, start being strategic. There is a massive difference between being kind, which is a genuine virtue, and being nice, which is often just fear wearing a smile. Let us move to the second weakness, the one that leaks your power drop by drop. You talk too much. In the age of social media and oversharing, we have been conditioned to share everything, our opinions, our feelings, our breakfast, our outrage, our deepest insecurities. We have been trained to believe that our thoughts are valuable and must be heard, that transparency is always a virtue. Both Machiavelli and Greene warn against this with devastating clarity. Machiavelli observed that men judge more by appearances than by reality, that the wise prince concerns himself more with how he appears than with what he is. Robert Greene states it directly: power depends greatly on appearances, and the more you talk, the more you reveal, the more likely you are to say something foolish, something you can't take back, something that reveals your weakness. Every time you walk into a room and feel the need to fill the silence, you lose power. Every time someone asks you a question and you feel compelled to give the full truth, to explain yourself, to justify your choices, you lose power. Every time you get defensive, you hand them a weapon. Law number 4, always say less than necessary. This is about strategic communication, about understanding that words are like seeds. Once planted, they grow, and you cannot control what grows from them. Powerful people understand that silence is a shield and a weapon. When you are silent, you are an enigma. People project their own fears and desires onto you. They become uncertain, and the person who creates uncertainty controls the room. Think about the most powerful person you know. Do they babble? Do they overshare? Do they defend themselves when criticized? No, they let their results speak. When you are attacked, your instinct is to explain, to justify, to make them understand. That instinct will destroy you. When you explain, you are begging for validation, you are placing your well-being in the hands of your attacker. The strategic move is this: next time someone accuses you of something, pause, look at them, let the silence hang for 3 seconds, then say, "I see," and walk away. You have just taken all the power from them. You did not engage, you remained mysterious, and they will spend days wondering what you meant. Your words are your treasure, stop giving them away for free. This brings us to the third weakness, emotional reactivity. We live in a world designed to trigger you, engineered to keep you in a state of constant emotional agitation. The news cycle is designed to make you angry. Social media algorithms are designed to make you outraged. Your boss is designed to trigger your fear, your partner to trigger your abandonment fears. Everything is engineered to provoke a reaction, and when you react emotionally, you are no longer in control, you are a puppet, and your anger, your fear, your excitement, are the hands up your back. Machiavelli understood this. He advised the prince to never be ruled by passion, to calculate every move. Robert Greene calls this the ultimate form of self-mastery. He says, the master of all skills is the one who can master their own emotions, the one who can pause between stimulus and response and choose their reaction deliberately. Why is this so critical? Because emotions make you predictable, they make you manipulable. If I know I can insult you and make you angry, I can control you, I can bait you into stupid decisions. If I know I can threaten you and make you fearful, I can make you compliant, I can make you accept bad deals. Law number 8, make other people come to you. This law is about controlling the battlefield, but you cannot control the battlefield if you are constantly reacting to every pinprick. To break this, you must become an observer of your own mind. When someone disrespects you, the first flash of anger is biological, you cannot stop it. But the second step, the decision what to do with that anger, is a choice. Most people are slaves to that first impulse, they feel anger so they lash out. The powerful person feels the anger and asks, what is the most strategic move here? Does reacting serve my long-term goals or just my ego? Imagine a competitor spreads a lie about you. Your instinct is rage, you want to defend yourself. If you do, you have fallen into their trap, you are playing defense on their court. The strategic move might be silence, it might be to double down on your work, to become so successful that their lies become irrelevant. Robert Greene says, when you try to attack others, you only strengthen them. Do not wrestle with a pig, you both get dirty and the pig likes it. We have to talk about the fourth weakness, the smell of neediness. Not a physical smell, but a psychological one that people detect subconsciously. When you are needy, when you are desperate, when you want something too much, you reek of it. You want the job too badly, so you accept the first offer, you tolerate poor conditions. You want the relationship too badly, so you text too much, you accept mistreatment, you tolerate the intolerable. And the moment you want something too badly, you hand all your power to the person who has it. Machiavelli understood that the prince must appear self-sufficient, must never seem desperate. Robert Greene's law number 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. He argues that emotional states are contagious, that if you surround yourself with desperate people, you will become one of them. But more importantly, you must never appear desperate yourself. Desperation signals that you have no options, and if you have no options, people know they can give you less and you will still take it. Think about dating, who has the power, the person who is obsessed or the person with a full life who is willing to walk away? Think about salary negotiation, who gets the better deal, the person terrified of losing the offer or the person with multiple options? The person with options, the person who is not desperate, that person commands respect. The fix is to stop chasing and start building, build your skills, your health, your wealth, your options, become someone who is genuinely willing to walk away. When you walk into a room with that energy, you don't have to ask for respect, it is given. This brings us to the fifth weakness, the deepest cut, your inability to see yourself. You have a blind spot the size of a planet, filled with all the things you refuse to admit about yourself. Machiavelli advised that the wise man does at once what the fool does finally, but this requires knowing yourself, knowing your weaknesses. Robert Greene's final book, The Laws of Human Nature, is dedicated to this. He says self-awareness is the most important skill, because if you cannot see your own patterns, you are doomed to repeat your mistakes forever. You must know your dark side. We all have envy, greed, laziness, insecurities. The powerful admit these things to themselves, they look in the mirror and say, yes, I am envious, yes, I am afraid, and I need to manage these things so they don't manage me. The weak person says, I'm just easygoing, but the powerful person admits, I am afraid of conflict and I need to fix that. The weak person says, I'm just loyal, but the powerful person admits, I am afraid of being alone and I stay in bad situations because of it. You cannot fix a problem you refuse to name. People spend their lives running from self-reflection, filling their days with noise to avoid sitting alone with the truth. You need time for strategic reflection, asking yourself brutal questions. Why did that trigger me? What pattern keeps repeating? What am I pretending not to know about myself? Those who fail to look inward are doomed to be pawns, manipulated by those who understand human nature better than they understand themselves. The sixth weakness is your addiction to speed, your impatience, your need for immediate results. We live in a world of fast food, instant streaming, same-day delivery. We want the result without the process, the harvest without the planting. This impatience makes you predictable. You will take the first offer because you can't wait for a better one. You will force things that aren't ready. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the bold, but also that the wise man must adapt his timing to the times. Robert Greene's law number 22, use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. This law is about the strategic value of patience, understanding that sometimes the most powerful move is to wait, to bend so you don't break, to surrender short-term for long-term gain. Think about nature. The oak tree stands rigid and gets snapped by the wind, the bamboo bends and survives. Power is often about timing, knowing when to act and when to do nothing. When you are patient, you let opponents make mistakes, you let situations ripen, you wait for the door to open and walk through calmly. Most people cannot do this. They mistake motion for progress. They exhaust themselves jumping out of the water like a fish while the patient fisherman waits with his net. The impatient person burns out, the patient person endures, and in the long game, endurance always wins. Now let me share something that will transform how you see everything. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must learn to enter into evil when necessary, but he also emphasized that appearances are everything. Robert Greene takes this further with law number 12, use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. This means that a strategic act of honesty, a calculated display of vulnerability, can actually increase your power because it disarms others, it makes them trust you, it makes them lower their guard. But this must be a choice, not a habit. You decide when to be open, when to be closed, when to be visible, when to be invisible. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of your own strategy. Another crucial insight from both thinkers is the importance of keeping your friends close and your enemies closer. Machiavelli advised the prince to live among his conquered people, to understand them, to anticipate their moves. Greene's law number 2, never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. Your enemies often teach you more than your friends, they show you your weaknesses, they keep you sharp, they force you to improve. Do not waste your enemies, do not simply try to destroy them, study them. Learn from them, use them as fuel for your growth. And consider this from Machiavelli, men love at their own pleasure, but fear at the pleasure of the prince. Greene translates this into law number 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. When you are always available, always present, always accessible, your value decreases. Create scarcity, create distance, create mystery. Too much familiarity breeds contempt. Let people miss you, let them wonder about you, let them wait for you. The one who is pursued holds the power, the one who pursues is weak. Now let me address something uncomfortable. Both Machiavelli and Greene understood that envy is the most dangerous emotion in human affairs. People will forgive you for being better than them, but they will never forgive you for making them feel inferior. This is why you must learn to manage the envy of others. Greene's law number 46, never appear too perfect. If you are too talented, too successful, too attractive, too anything, you will attract envy like a magnet. You must occasionally display flaws, admit to small weaknesses, show that you are human, so that others do not feel threatened enough to destroy you. But this is a strategic choice, not a way of life. You decide when to hide your light and when to let it shine. And finally, understand that power is a game that never ends. Machiavelli spent his last years in exile, writing, observing, still playing the game even when he had lost everything. Robert Greene, after decades of study, emphasizes that the master of power is always learning, always adapting, always growing. There is no finish line, there is no moment when you can relax and stop playing. The moment you think you've won, you've already lost to someone who is still hungry. So where does this leave you? You have been living as a spectator, as someone things happen to, hoping your good heart will protect you from the cold realities of the world. It won't. Machiavelli wrote that a man who wishes to be perfectly good will be destroyed among so many who are not good. Robert Greene's work is a wake-up call to stop being naive, to open your eyes to the game that has been playing out since the beginning of human history. This is not about becoming a tyrant, it is about protecting yourself, about understanding the game so you are not a victim of it. The world is competitive, resources are finite, human nature is constant. You have two choices: you can bury your head in the sand, cling to comfortable lies about niceness and fairness, and continue to wonder why life is hard. Or you can wake up, study the laws, master your emotions, guard your tongue, conquer your neediness, develop self-awareness, learn the art of timing, and transform from victim into strategist. Machiavelli said it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, but Greene's last law, Law 48, offers a deeper truth: assume formlessness, be like water, be shapeless, fluid. By being formless you cannot be touched, you cannot be controlled, you adapt to any situation. Stop being a fixed target, become fluid, become a student of power for the rest of your life. The journey starts today, with the decision to see the world as it is, not as you wish it were. If you are ready to stop being weak and start being strategic, the first move is simple: acknowledge the game, accept that you are in it, and decide that from this moment forward, you will play to win. Let us begin.